Hello, everybody. Welcome back to DHTV. I'm Chris Phillips. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we got a great broadcast. We'll be speaking with HP and talking about Windows 11 and all the great things that HP has to offer with their Work Happy Wherever You Are initiative. Before we get things started, I'm going to kind of go over some quick housekeeping. There will be a presentation here. If you would like to ask questions at any point during this presentation, I am going to kind of light up a window you could ask a question in. If you have any comments in general, questions, whatever, please feel free, add them into that box. We'll be going through those as the presentation is taking place. We'll be answering them as we go as well. So please take that opportunity to engage with us today as we kind of go through things. We also have some resources available to you. I'm going to highlight those as well right now. We got a video and I believe a PDF about some more information on what you're seeing here today. You can review that now or after the fact. It's there for you whenever you'd like it. But to get started today, I've got Jay from HP. Jay, how's it going?
Good, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm actually in the studio for the first time in like 2 years here since we all got sent back to our houses. So I'm not in a virtual green screen anymore. This is an actual wall here. I'm excited about that.
We used to be impressed with special effects. Now we're just impressed with the
it's a wall. Hardware. I can feel it. It's got texture to it. It's weird. So Jay, go ahead and get us started.
Great. Well, I'm Jay Kara. Thank you very much for joining us today. I know it's hard, taking time out of your busy schedule to attend a webinar. So definitely appreciate it. Appreciate your support. If you're an HP reseller, for sticking with us through this crazy time. I know supply chain was an issue at one point, seems kind of like a distant memory for some, but we're back now with lots of inventory, and of course the game now has changed in terms of how do we get new business, and so that's kind of what we're here today to talk about. Let me just advance the slide that shows my name, Jay Kara. I'm a channel development manager with HP's Personal Systems Group. And with me, with a similar background, you might have seen him pop up with the fairground air balloon background, is Rob Pizzicarola. We call him Pizza Man internally. I don't know if you wanted that out there, but hey, catch out of the bag. He's a Microsoft Alliance Manager here at HP. And so, we'll go through kind of what's new and what kind of conversations you can have that are leading edge with your customers. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of product. I know some of you are heartbroken, but speeds and feeds and things like that, we can always share with you ad nauseum. What I want to do today is to help you structure the conversation with your accounts. This whole kind of hybrid work is a change. Although we've been in it for a while, customers are still grappling with how do they provision correctly in this new world? What kind of products, what kind of accessories do they need to get to their constituents, their end users? And so, we've presented this, or I've presented this at some customer end user events. The content was very well received, even from some of our VAR partners and our HP end user reps. Got great feedback in terms of this conversation around hybrid and HP personas, as you'll see, is kind of the exact conversation that they want to have. It helps you get into meetings that you normally wouldn't necessarily be in and be more of a trusted advisor, or it just helps kind of shift the narrative a little bit and have conversations with people that you meet, but different conversations. So it's a good way to get in front of people and add value in new ways. So with that, to start, I wanted to share a kind of a lighthearted, funny video exactly around this theme. So enjoy this, and we'll talk in a bit.
So, you want to be successful, huh? Well, let's go over the ground rules. You'll need to come in early. Work through lunch.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Burn the midnight oil. That's not what I meant. And keep your eyes on the market. Different market. Master the cold call.
That sounds perfect.
You can't be serious. And 2 words. Firm handshake. Firmer. Ensure you get plenty of face time with the boss. And dare I say, brown nose from time to time. This dog gets it. So come on, defy the pecking order.
Here, try one.
Sell your own grandmother. This is not an office. Is anyone listening? Bend over backwards. Get into the daily grind. What's happening? And always, always dress for the job you want. I give up.
So there you go. Work happy. So what does work happy mean? From our perspective, it's to deliver premium hybrid experiences. So no matter where you're working, be it the office, be it the home office, be it a third-party site, coffee shop, airport lounge, customer site, we want you to have the best possible experience. And, we've been kind of changing this on the fly as the world has changed. But we've been investing in kind of hybrid work for a long time. But, the best quote I heard on this was that the future came ahead of schedule. So everyone kind of knew, at some point won't be working in the office as much as we were before, say in 2019, but everything just got accelerated. So there's kind of just making sure your device is kind of up to par with what you need, and I'll talk more about that. But then there's also that second point is around security, and how do we make sure that your customers can get what they need to get done, but feel safe when they're doing it. You don't have to look too far in the headlines to see that every day there's a new breach that you hear about. And spoiler alert, I will be talking about this, but 70% of breaches start with an endpoint compromise. So 70% of the time, it's the PC that gets compromised first. And so, customers are still thirsting for more and better solutions. Of course, Rob's going to talk about Win 11. Windows 11 is a lot more secure than Windows 10. Great news. More security is always better. More layers are always better. And I'll talk about what HP's got very briefly. I can wax poetic about HP security story, but I'll keep it to a minimum. But we can always have a follow-up conversation on that front. And then thirdly, environmental sustainability is not something that we're going to talk about today. But I did want to put it out there just because, like security, it's something that's apart from the PC. So it's outside of the realm of the usual conversation about, what kind of PC it is, how much RAM it has, how much storage it has, what's the screen size, all that kind of good stuff, necessary conversations. But these kind of elevate the conversation in terms of the security offering, and then the environmental. Environmental is a generational issue in that, folks on this line, you're more environmentally friendly than your parents' generation, and your kids are more environmentally friendly than yours, and so on and so forth. So, I look at my kids, from day one, they were environmental activists. And what we see in survey after survey is that sustainability is becoming more and more of a central criteria when it comes to purchasing decisions. And so we just want to make sure that you're armed with that information. If you like, HP, we stand up and say HP is Canada's most technologically sustainable company. And so we have the proof points to back that up. We get feedback from third-party companies and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot there. Won't go into it today, but just know that that's also a key differentiator. And it leads to business. Like I said, procurement's looking at it more. Last year, HP estimates $3.2 billion in revenue came directly from our sustainability positioning. And so, customers are definitely understanding it and looking for more of that kind of info. So here's a quick little survey for you. How many days a week do you work in the office? So we had a conversation earlier, someone was saying I kind of work 1.5 days. So round up, how many days a week do you actually open the front door at your office? And so just interesting to see kind of what we'll see on this call. So we'll come back to that.
Put me down for one as I pet the wall here at the office.
Okay.
I did it. I made it in one day.
Chris, yeah. You know what? You should have a little chalk.
Chalkboard, yeah. One.
Put the marks on the wall, yeah, like a prisoner.
Get on that, Austin. I'll expect that next time I'm here.
So the dominant trend that we're seeing with this kind of hybrid work is remote working. So either, like I said, you're in the office, you're in the home office, you're on the road. Um, and so HP's put a lot of kind of time and money into making sure our products kind of align with that. At the same time, we've put a lot of investment into mergers and acquisitions. So here's 4 companies that we purchased recently that really augment our posture when it comes to hybrid working. So Bromium is a security company out of Cambridge University in the UK. They help us with our endpoint isolation technology, or some of you might have heard of threat containment. Some of you might have heard of SureClick. They all kind of mean the same thing, but it's intellectual property that no one else has. So no other PC manufacturer can claim to have anything like this. And so I'll talk about it briefly later on. But know that we have the world's most secure PCs. We're able to say that. And we say the world's most secure Windows PCs because it's on the Windows operating system that we're able to do a lot of this great stuff. Poly, most of you would probably know, leading edge collaboration. And so what you'll see is on our PCs more and more, collaboration is front and center. So it's not just kind of how much horsepower your product has. Does it have a 5 megapixel camera with adjustment for low light and backlight? Does it have AI noise cancellation? Does it have a world-facing mic? Does it have temporal noise reduction so your voice actually comes out across clearer? Things like that. And so we've been investing in putting more and more kind of great collaboration features into our products. Auto frame, so with it I could kind of walk around the room and it would kind of center in on me. And it even gives you options of, do you want just your torso showing? Do you want the head? Do you want just the head and a bit of the shoulders? So, it lets you kind of customize things all around collaboration. And then apart from that, we're talking about collaboration rooms is a huge piece. And so, as we're going back to the company, what we see is the collaboration rooms are not quite up to snuff. We're all used to having really good collaboration experiences now. And now you go back to a conference room that's just not doing it. So Poly is a leader and HP is a leader in this now. So I'd encourage you to talk to your customers about Poly headsets, webcams, all that kind of good stuff, but then also collaboration rooms. Teradici, it's high performance remote computing. I'm not going to go into that very much, but just know that they were a world leader. And actually HP, the other world leader was HP Remote Boost. And now we're bringing that together in the form of HP Anyware, W-A-R-E. And so lots of kind of great applications and new offerings coming on that front. And then HyperX, if there's any gamers, I should have put up a poll if anybody, who's a gamer on this call, you probably recognize the name HyperX. World-class peripherals. Gamers will sit in one position for 5 hours to play a game. They demand exacting standards in terms of comfort and performance and low latency. So, we're cool. We offer this. We have a big consumer business. At the same time, this technology will filter its way into our mainstream offering as well. In terms of the poll, fairly even split. One day a week has kind of run away with it. And then secondly, it's 4 days. So it's kind of across the spectrum. And it's interesting, right?
We forgot to put 0 in there. That may have actually helped something, but I can't imagine 0 is an answer for very much people anymore.
Well, and it's not going to be an answer for very much longer for most people. Yeah. I mean, some functions are not going back to the office, but if you talk to most customers that I've been speaking to, have said, like the executives are saying, their intent is to get people more into the office than they are today. There's a lot of that kind of secret sauce that's missing in terms of getting people together and bouncing ideas off each other. Having said that, I'm in that one category as well. So we go in on Thursdays, but I imagine it's gonna kind of double pretty soon. Yeah, and so this whole thing is having an impact on all areas of the business. And nobody wants to go back full time. There was an outcry at our federal government when they mandated 3 days a week. How dare you make us leave our house 3 days a week? And I'm not looking down on them. I'd be in that same boat. So we need to figure out how how to help employees be productive no matter where they are. IT is still kind of grappling with how do you support them. So HP's got something called active care. And so it's a one-stop shop care pack that's got accidental damage protection, next day business on-site, effective media retention, travel assistance or travel support. So even when you're on the road, we'll still support you. And then also proactive insights built in there. So you got proactive analytics and insights and auto ticketing. So if your battery is about to fail and you don't even know, this system picks that up and ships you out a new battery before your old one fails. And so, there's a lot of goodness that comes with this. And, we've come out with this care pack just because of this whole shift to hybrid. So we're changing the way we're doing business to help the customers as well. And then so the third point there is security. I don't think I need to talk too much about that. It's on everybody's top 3, if not top 2, in terms of IT decision makers. Nobody wants to be the victim of ransomware or a breach. And then, of course, business models are changing. This is kind of talks about kind of the print workflow and digitizing everything. If you think about DocuSign, if you've bought a house lately or rented anything, it's all being done kind of remotely. And that's a big change from, when you used to have to go to the lawyer's office and sign, 40 pages. So it's definitely affecting all aspects of our business and our work life. Okay. And then, just to kind of shift gears here. So what we're trying to do is help IT folks navigate this new world. And so what HP's come out with is personas. And so we've got 6 different personas here. And what we do with this is it gives us kind of the use case and then what kind of products and accessories are the best for this type of user. So no 2 use cases are alike here. And what we've seen is there are VARs that have done really well, who've really keyed into this. So they've responded to RFPs saying, we're not going to just give you the 2 models that you were asking for. We estimate that your company has this share of these type of folks, and these are the products that we're pitching to everyone. So what's really nice with that is you're not under provisioning your power user, and you're not over provisioning, say, your back office hero. And so you're spending your money in the exact right way for the exact right use case for the most productivity. And IT folks really love that. They love that kind of thinking because that's exactly what they want. And then if I marry this with proactive insights, once you roll this out, you can see who's using their CPUs to the max, who's kind of maxing out on battery life or what have you. You can get kind of all those insights and then tweak and say, hey, this group within the power users actually needs a better graphics card or something like that. So there's a lot of kind of really good real world benefits from these insights. So if we pick just one, so Mobile Trailblazer, and so this is a deck that we have that we can kind of work with you on. So each persona's got, say, 6 or 7 slides in the deck that go through kind of everything about them. So what are their key characteristics? What's important to them? How do they spend their day? What are the key kind of accessories that they need, depending on context? And I'll explain what that is. But if you think about the Mobile Trailblazer out on the road, they would need a port replicator, carrying case, maybe a 14-inch USB display that plugs into your notebook that gives you kind of a second screen. Personally, I use that a lot when I'm traveling. If you've ever tried to build a presentation using other presentations on one screen, it's almost impossible. So, that really boosts productivity. So if you have people that travel a lot, like the executive, like the Trailblazer, those kind of things. And we also look at the profile. So what's most important to them? Is it power? Is it weight? Is it design? Is it collaboration? Is it security? So those are kind of things that we look at for everyone, but everyone's got different degrees. The power user, obviously, power is paramount. Connected executive, usually just doing emails and doing some browsing. Power isn't what they need. They want something that's sleek and really well designed. And so, we look at all those kind of things. Typical role for a mobile trailblazer, customer-facing role, of course, salesperson. They're away from their desk 40 to 60% of the time. And then we also have the estimates of the average company, what percentage is a mobile trailblazer. In this case, it's 16. You'll see I have a one-pager that we'll share with you that has everybody on there and has all the kind of characteristics and the and their mix in a company. So you'll have that as a reference as well. So what we have at HP, we have a tool called HP User Segmentation and Persona. And so this is something that you can work with your HP rep to actually do, go through this. But it basically asks your customer about 20 questions. We input the data into the tool, and then it spits out kind of what is their mix of these different personas. And then also you can see there it says View Report. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse. Can you see my mouse, Chris, when I'm...
No, we cannot.
Okay, so I will direct you with my words. If you go to View Report, you'll see the report of the mix and the key characteristics of each of those groups. And so that'll help them kind of understand the needs of their organization. And there's also, you can see that third kind of button there. There's a white paper on user segmentation and how to best kind of use that approach and why it is so effective. And again, the feedback that we got from customers that I personally received from customers is very positive. This is the exact kind of thing that they need help on, that they don't have anything kind of homegrown. And so this is the one pager. It's actually an Excel sheet, and D&H has it. I think there might be a link that you can go to and download it. And so what it's got, as you can see, the different end user personas, their profiles, what their typical roles are, kind of what I showed you before, where they are, what percent of the time, and then what kind of mix they make up of an average organization. You can see the connected executive is 2%, mobile trailblazer 16%, et cetera, et cetera. And then what's really nice here is that we have a huge portfolio. All the way from entry level ProBooks all the way up to Z class or Z class mobile workstations and desktop workstations. Actually, I just saw the new Z8 Fury. It's our latest offering in high-end computer. It's insane. I think it's got a terabyte of memory. It's just so we can get as powerful as you want, basically. So there's actually almost too much choice for customers. So this does help kind of break it down in terms of, hey, if you're this persona, these are the 3 products that are probably most right for you. And then you can kind of tweak it based on conversations. So this kind of really dumbs it down. In most of these, you can see in that blue bar, light blue is a notebook and dark blue is a desktop. So that just kind of gives you a feel for it. So you see, we're not recommending that many products per persona. And then what's also neat is underneath that, we got the accessories. Whether you're on the road, in the office, in the home office, these are the accessories that we recommend for this persona. And then, customer can kind of look at that and pick and choose. But it's a great way to kind of frame the conversation and then help them kind of take the next steps. And then Poly is highlighted in red there, as you can see. But what's neat is this whole document, in terms of product recommendations, is all live links. So try to show that just by those arrows and those PDFs or the snapshot of a PDF. So any of these that you click on, it's got the data sheet on there. And so you can get more information just from this one document. And then what I don't show here is underneath there for you, the value-added resellers, there's also rep incentives. So reseller incentives in terms of spiffs, in terms of new business opportunity rebates and things like that. So kind of, additional incentives that are there for you on these products are shown as well. So that's a nice kind of one-stop shop. Okay, I'm nearing the end of my time. I've got a couple more slides. I just wanted to kind of touch base on security and just highlight some key offerings that we have. We say click happens because, like I said before, 70% of breaches start at the endpoint. And so, there's reason for that. One is that there's just so many endpoints out there, especially with this move to work from home. If you recall, there was that crazy time where people were just clamoring to get their hands on anything that they could use as a computer at their home. And so what happened is IT kind of lost control of the really strict lockdown kind of procedure that they had. And so there's a lot of products out there that aren't properly locked down. And then also what we see in surveys is people are sharing PCs at home with their kids. If your kid's a gamer and is downloading stuff, to play like an applet for a video game, you can see how that could become very problematic. The other thing is more and more people are using their work PC for home use. And so I could have Outlook on my PC as my work, but then I maybe have Gmail and I'm getting attachments and I'm opening attachments. And so you could see how it could all become very problematic. Bottom line is, somebody's got to click on something, be it a link or an attachment, and that causes malware to get into your PC, onto your network, into your servers, all that kind of stuff. So we need a better way of kind of locking that down. And this icon here, or this graphic that shows endpoint isolation, locking out malware and ransomware, that's basically what we do. And so, it's a key differentiator for us. We call it threat containment. We call it endpoint isolation. Basically what it does is whatever you open, be it a browser or an email attachment, it opens in a micro VM, a micro virtualized machine. So this is not software sandboxing. It's actually hardware that's dedicated to that micro virtualized machine. And so that code or whatever, that file executes in a kind of in the lockdown area. And a great way to think of it is every micro VM you open, so there's one for every file, it's like its own little PC. And so once you close that PC, once you close that browser tab, it's like throwing that PC away. So if there's malware on it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't get out to anywhere else. And so that's really powerful. What's nice is it doesn't disrupt end user workflows. They can still work normally as they would. HR can still open resumes, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes malware is dormant until it's interacted with. And so that's how it slips through some of the firewalls and things like that. And so, we don't need to worry about that. And we've got a lot of proof points. So here it shows 18 billion proof points, meaning there's 18 billion micro VMs opened so far since we offered this without a single reported breach. And in fact, this is an older slide. The number is now 20 billion. So there's lots and lots of proof points, and this is a really great way of locking down kind of the barrage of malware and ransomware that's coming in, at every angle it seems, and helping folks to work kind of as they normally would. So this is part of our Wolf Pro security offering. It comes on all of our SmartBuy products, a 1-year license. A customer just needs to activate it once they kind of do the initial boot up. Then we've also got solutions that are for larger enterprises, and we work with governments, and then they've got a lot more ability to tailor policies and things like that. But yeah, so we've got a great story, and if you feel comfortable saying HP's got the world's most secure PCs, and then if you need any more information or help, feel free to come to us. I did give D&H a PDF on HP Wolf Pro Security, so you can see kind of what it is and what it does in a really nice format you can share with your customers. So thanks for that, for sticking with me. There's a lot of information there, but hopefully it's all good info and useful for you. And with that, why don't I turn it over to Rob Pizzicarola, talk about Windows 11.
Yes, hello, everyone. So as Jay mentioned, I'm Rob Pizzicarola, and sorry, is my microphone coming through?
Yep.
Yes, sound great.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Rob Pizzicarola. I'm the Microsoft Alliance Manager at HP, and I'm here to talk to you guys today about how Microsoft and Windows 11 is working with all the great things that Jay was just talking about, and with HP as a whole, to help achieve that work happy lifestyle and that work happy messaging that HP is pushing across. And I'd like to start off by saying that Windows 11 is a newly introduced operating system, and Microsoft has specifically built this operating system to cater to hybrid work. It is the landmark of hybrid work within the PC community, and a lot of the features and benefits of Windows 11 is really catering towards a couple of points that I'm going to talk about today. But just so you know, Windows 11 is really the benchmark of what we're trying to push in the market now. And Windows 10 end of service is going to be coming up in 2025. So the conversations that we start having now with customers is really going to be building plans to get devices upgraded to where they need to be, so we can continue to live this work happy lifestyle and enjoy all the benefits of remote work in a safe and secure way. So I've got a question here on the screen. Simply, have you used Windows 11? Yes or no? And hopefully you guys have access to that question as I move on to the next slide.
Yep.
But we want to get an idea of how many of you guys have experienced the platform, been able to play around with it on whether it's your work computer or your personal computers. But with that being said, two of the main focuses that we're talking about in the commercial space, and two of the selling points that you can talk about with your customers, is the security around Windows 11. And as Jay alluded to, there's a lot of focus on security in the market today, and then the consistency and really understanding how it's going to benefit a company to be on Windows 11 and how easy it is to transition over to that, and what benefits it brings as a company, with a focus on a couple of key applications as well. So with that, one step too far.
Yep.
There we go. And so, really exciting to see that almost 75% of the people on the call today are already using Windows 11, and whether it be on your personal computer or on your, work computer, that's, exciting to see. So hopefully you are all starting to see the benefits as well, and starting to point out some key areas where you've seen improvements over Windows 10. But at the same time, this is really exciting, and we're only hoping to increase these numbers. As I mentioned, Windows 10 end of service is in October of 2025. So the next, just under 3 years is going to be a push of planning and really communicating with customers on why it's so important to make this transition and how easy it can be. So I'll start off talking about security. And security really is twofold in the messaging that we're talking about from a Microsoft perspective. One, we're talking about a concept called zero trust principles, and I'll get into that very briefly just so you understand what that means. And then I'll dig a little bit into what we're calling chip to cloud and security out of the box. But I digress. I'll jump in quickly to the zero trust principles. And there's 3 principles that we touch on. Again, I don't want to bore you with speeds and feeds. We have a ton of information on this stuff that we can send out to you as needed. But one, firstly, the operating system is verifying explicitly who is accessing the system before giving any access. Secondly, the use of the least privileged access is being used, meaning that the operating system will give only just enough access as you're asking for. It will not give you more access than you need. So that keeps everything nice and tidy when you're asking for certain privileges that maybe, you don't want other people to have access to. And thirdly, assuming a breach. So the operating system will always assume that a breach is in place. Therefore, having the high alert alarm going off at all times when any user is accessing the operating system, the apps, or anything within your device. So that's the overall concept of zero trust. And I'll now briefly get into security by default, or security out of the box. So Windows 11 has built-in layers of security to secure each part of the PC and each level of operations that you guys are using. So just the 5 layers here that are outlined are the hardware, the operating system, the applications, identity and privacy, and the cloud. So I'll really briefly take you through at a high level what these things mean. I don't want to, again, get into speeds and feeds because we have tons of documentation and presentations that we can provide to you at a later time on, how to talk about these things. And I'm always learning more and more about security. I think that's an important piece to remember as well. As you're all having conversations with your customers, we're all learning about security. Breaches are new every day. The threats are new every day. And it's important to remember that, we're not all security experts. I'd say most of us are not security experts. And the people who really, really know about security, they know a lot. But the more you start to open your mind up to the conversation and the more you start to practice just maybe, learning about some of the features at a high level and open yourself up to it, you will get more comfortable with the conversation. I by no means am a security expert to the extent that, the 1% of people are in this world, but, there's a lot to learn and there's a lot of really cool features that you can help talk your customers through that'll go really far in conversations with your end users. So I'll start at the bottom talking about the hardware, and that's really the security that's in the chip and that is protecting your computer while it's starting up. So before you even type in a password, before you even get onto your home page or your, where you can access the internet and all that, there's already security features built into the hardware, the CPU, that are protecting your computer upon startup and protecting the memory so that any threats that were broken into your computer while it was off, those are no longer harmful to you. And no matter how many, fake emails that your company sends out as a test to see if you're able to avoid those threats, no matter how many times that does, if your computer's off and it is threatened, that's not going to protect you. So we're building things into the devices that will help things you can't control. Then the operating system. At the operating system level, you have different features that'll help encrypt your data, protect your network, and protect against viruses and any malicious software that is on your computer. And this is important because it works in tandem with the hardware to keep everything safe. But they're also separated, and the applications are also a separate feature. So the 3 levels, hardware, operating system, and applications, they're separated in a way where if you access one, for example, the hardware, you can't gain access to the operating system or the applications. Similar to those virtual windows that Jay was talking about within the HP device, or they exist within the operating system security as well. So just another way that Microsoft and HP are working together to make sure that if someone breaches one part of your computer, it can't access another part of your computer to keep everything as contained as possible. When we look at identity and privacy, of course, I'm sure all of us are familiar with a lot of these features already. Some of you may need to use multiple factors of authentication to log into your computer or certain programs, maybe providing a fingerprint or face recognition, maybe providing a password, and also having to accept a number on your phone. These features are continuing to grow, and we're only coming up with more and more ways to make it more secure for people to access devices and really make sure that if I'm accessing my computer, it truly is me and not someone pretending to be me who's getting onto that device. And then finally, we have the cloud. And the cloud layer is, some features in the cloud you may be familiar with and you don't even realize it's a security feature. For example, the fact that you can store all of your data up in the cloud, and when someone breaks into your computer, remotely, they may not be able to see that information. And that's a great security feature and also allows you to store more information as well. Also for large corporations or any corporations, the cloud gives you ability to change device settings and change security settings of all devices within a corporation remotely. So it kind of really plays into that work happy idea and the ability to have devices being remote, but having your IT team still be able to access that device to patch any issues that are going on, or really keep that device in a healthy state without you having to walk into the office and physically be there to hand them the computer in order for them to help. So I hope that at a high level, this is a really key slide that I'd love for you guys to take a look at when you get a chance, or if you have any questions, I'm always happy to help. But this is a really key space that is going to begin that journey of talking more and more about security and getting into that Windows 11 security messaging as we kind of move towards the Windows 10 end of service date. So now, oh, where's my arrow? There it is. All right, now we'll talk a little bit about consistency. Consistency from Windows 11, or from Windows 10 to Windows 11, is going to be as consistent. Rather, the transition from Windows 10 to Windows 11 is going to be as consistent as it will ever be today. And the more that customers delay their upgrade, and the more that we kind of push back on this idea of upgrading to a newer operating system, the more that Windows 11 will progress and the more updates will come, and the less consistent this transition will be for customers. So this is a conversation that I'm, pushing onto you guys and letting you know to talk to your customers about, because a large issue with upgrading from Windows 7 to Windows 10 was that there was a difficult time with consistency, and many apps did not cross over easily, and customers therefore got stuck with Windows 7 because they were too afraid or too slow to upgrade at the time. But with Windows 10, we want to make that transition as easy as possible. Specifically with applications was one of the largest issues we saw transitioning from Windows 7 to Windows 10. And so far, we see about a 99% consistency with compatibility from apps from Windows 10 to 11. So it's something that's in the forefront of our minds. We don't want to make it difficult for people to transition. And Microsoft and HP have done an amazing job of making it the easiest possible route to transition from Windows 10 to 11. And that's why we want to start this conversation now. We want to start making plans with customers and letting them know that this is an easy process. And, if we're at the point where we need to upgrade devices, we can start looking at those different personas, getting new devices in customers' hands, and having them realize that it's going to be a very beneficial part of their, workforce over the next 5-10 years, so on and so forth. And it starts with really having the conversation now. I'll move on. Sorry, I'm just clicking the next slide here. One of the big features of helping with transition and adjusting to this work happy lifestyle is, of course, Windows Autopilot. And some of you may know what Windows Autopilot is, some of you may not, but essentially this is a great product that Windows has come out with that allows companies to deploy devices remotely no matter where the workforce is, and it comes out as an amazing cost savings for the company. It's a time-saving device, it's a cost-saving device, and it makes everyone's lives so much easier when they're, let's say a new employee is trying to get their device set up in the first week. It can be pretty frustrating at times, and it can be discouraging for a new employee to take a while to work with IT to get all this stuff set up. Windows Autopilot will solve that problem, and the 3 easy steps that I've laid out here. 1, the device gets registered with that end user, and we have VIN numbers that are basically tracked from HP's level and shared with whether it's a reseller or the end user themselves if their IT team wants to do it. Then we'll create a bunch of profiles around the personas, and then we'll ship out those devices. So I'll explain this a little bit more on the next slide here. It gives you a little bit of a visual of what this looks like, but essentially, and this is coming from Microsoft, essentially the hardware vendor will upload the device VIN numbers into the cloud. And once those VIN numbers are loaded into the cloud, it's stored. And this is a service that HP offers as well, or the end user can do this themselves. But furthermore, that device or the devices are shipped out to the employee who is going to use that device. Now, internally or behind the scenes, what we don't see is that we're setting up the personas that Jay talked about. And this is not only personas for devices, but this is personas for access as well. So we see salespeople needing different accesses than maybe an HR rep or a finance rep, different applications they're using, maybe different security features. All of this is stored in the cloud as well with those VIN numbers. And we can actually assign those VIN numbers to each persona individually. And then what the employee sees is that they receive a device with that VIN number, and their persona, their applications, their accesses are already loaded onto there. So all they're doing is briefly setting up maybe a company profile of some sort, whether it be getting a password to log onto their computer. And once they've logged in, all of those accesses and privacy concerns, anything that really was set up in the cloud, is automatically loaded onto their computer, and they can get working right away. So really, from a customer experience standpoint, this is the future of how we want to roll out devices to keep people happy and working, and not having them to have to be physically in person to do so. And so that's the end of my presentation on Microsoft, Windows 11 product, and I hope you guys got some value out of that. I know it's a lot of information, but we also want to, open up your eyes to a training session that we do, and it's hosted by HP and Microsoft. It's called Top Gun HP Flight School, and we're really excited. We host it every 2 weeks. Jay and I are on the call all the time, and this is a great spot where you can learn a little bit more about what we talked about today, or other amazing, products and solutions that HP and Microsoft have to offer. We have channel partners on the call all the time. We have some great alliance partners, Intel, AMD as well. And you can learn a whole breadth of information. We have a ton of fun on the call as well. And there's a lot of great prizes to be won, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. So, the sign up link is here on the slide. So if you get yourself signed up, you can start joining. It's every second Thursday. And, like I said, it's a ton of fun, and it'll give you a lot of great information that you can use in your sales conversations to really progress your place with customers as a trusted advisor. And again, really want you guys to know that we're here to support you as much as possible. And thanks all for listening.
Rob, what I'd say is we get about 140 partners out on a consistent basis, and so they see some real value in here. We give information in bite-sized chunks. So we're not kind of overwhelming you with we had a lot of content on this webinar. That's not what we do every second week. So it's a bit more kind of streamlined and smaller bites, but really, really useful. You get to see kind of what are the latest promotions and products that we have, what's in stock, what are we focusing on, what are the key things you should be saying, what are some new trends coming up, what are some conversation starters, what are some tools that are there just for the VARs, because this webinar is only for HP partners. So you get just a whole kind of, breadth of knowledge when it comes to interacting with HP. And, like Rob said, we get really good kind of, really good engagement, really good questions. So, if somebody's got a question or you've got a question, chances are they're very similar questions. And so we get them all answered there as well. So, yeah, give us a shot. Come out and try it. We have a Kahoot game, which usually Rob is the MC for it, and lots of ways to win. Just for participation, you get some, and then as well on top of that, we do post the recordings, and so you can go back and watch some as well. Okay.
Awesome, and with that, thank you very much for listening, and we can open it up to Q&A or pass it back to the D&H team to deliberate from here.
So we'll answer some questions as we go for the next 10 minutes. I did have a question that I wanted to ask specifically to you, Rob. And it was something that you brought up in your presentation about how Windows 11 was really designed around being a hybrid, or an operating system for hybrid work environments. Do you, and this is kind of a common question and theme that I've heard in the past, so it's more of an opinion, but in your opinion, do you feel that Windows 11 wouldn't exist had we not gone through what we went through 2020 and the whole pandemic, because prior to that, the messaging for Microsoft was that Windows 10 was the end, was their last operating system, and they would just upgrade iteratively. But I feel like Windows 11 was created to address a need. And if that was that, you feel that need was the need for a more hybrid operating system?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And the simple answer is yes. I strongly Windows 11, we did not, and fast change in the market. You know, and you're right. There was a lot of questions, especially right at the beginning, of, you know, we all said Windows 10 was going to be the last. Microsoft, you know, we took a stand and said, this is a need that needs to be filled. There are a lot of features outside of what I talked about that do cater to hybrid work as well. A lot about productivity, having, you know, Microsoft Teams directly built into the operating system, so you can basically your messages and calls with the click of a button, sharing screens, a whole bunch of other stuff that I didn't talk about that really plays into the direct need that had to be filled for the market. I wanted to focus on security and consistency because I feel like those are the two most important conversations that will help you guys speak to your customers about upgrading now and where the urgency is. But if we're talking about the overall platform and what Windows 11 does to help cater to hybrid work, there's, you know, I could go on for another hour or two about those features as well.
It's a whole nother
that I didn't quite
webcast.
touch on. Oh yeah, and I've got one on there, so, you know, happy to speak about more of that stuff as well when we have more time.
All right, Jay, while Rob is having a little bit of choppiness, I think we did get you near at the end, but since he's being a little choppy, let's ask you a question about Rob. Why is he called the Pizza Man? This is very important. Everyone wants to know.
Wow.
And what kind of pizza are we talking about?
Okay, those are two very fine questions. I'll start with the first one first, because people were having a heck of a time trying to pronounce his last name. I don't think it's that difficult, Pizzicarola, but I don't know, to certain ears, and I'm sure Dave doesn't have a problem. He's no stranger to Italian surnames, but yeah. So they do. Also, actually, I should say, on the HP Flight School, it's also called Top Gun. So everybody's got a call name.
Oh,
and a call
nice.
name is something that's given to you. You don't choose your own call name. And so we chose Pizza Man for him. And so it kind of stuck. And my call name is actually morphed over time. So it's now Captain Channel because I'm Channel Development Manager. Mm-hmm. But before that, it was Bollywood. So
okay,
take from that what you will. I can neither sing nor dance nor act, but maybe I have film star good looks. I'm not sure, but yeah, they used to go by Bollywood, but now it's Captain Channel. My manager, Andrew Chun, who leads the category team, the PC product team, he is Merlin. The product manager for Z Workstations is Viper. The manager, sorry, the category manager for our notebooks is Iceman.
Yeah, Paul at Microsoft is Apocalypse.
Paul is Apocalypse. Apocalypse.
Yeah, Apocalypse. Yeah.
So any guest that we have on, they get their own name as well. So
nice.
Yeah. So if you want to join, we'll have a clever name for you.
Yeah. So
and I believe, I'll talk on Rob's behalf here, but I always picture him as a pepperoni and cheese guy. That's it. So I'm not sure, Rob.
Yeah. Also,
right? Okay.
Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I also like Hawaiian. You know what? I've just got to say it. So sorry to anyone who's against that, but FYI, it was invented in Canada, so, you know, maybe a bit of patriotism there. I don't know. Maybe it's skewing my opinion.
You're such a homer. You like the home team.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
it.
Sorry,
Chris,
sorry. You better be Surrey over there, E.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
We're
giving away a 30 beer baskets with this broadcast for those of you who registered and showed up for the live event. So that'll pair. Pizza will pair very nicely with that. So I thought it was good synergy, good thing to kind of bring this whole thing to close. But with that, doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in. So Jay, Rob, thank you so much for your time today. That was immensely entertaining and educational. Do you have anything to kind of add as we kind of close out here?
All I would say is, rely on the good folks at D&H. They're an extension of our team. We've got 2 HP champions on staff there. You probably know them, Chris and Steven. And Dave is on this call as well. Dave Giancola, who's our HP manager who manages the relationship with D&H. Between them, there's no question we can't get answered. So any help you need, feel free to reach out and let us work with you.
Bryce, this would have been a much more entertaining webcast had the beer been sent out prior to this webcast. It would have been a completely different one. That's for a later date. Rob, anything else you would like to add?
No, that's all. Send the beer out because I may not have presented as well. All right. Thank you very much for having me, and I appreciate the audience and the attendance. And as Jay said, we've got a great connection with D&H, so reach out to them, connect, and excited, happy selling.
All right. Well, thanks, Jay. Thanks, Rob. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. We'll see you next time, and I hope everyone has a pleasant afternoon. Take it easy, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.